Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video tutorial for a craft. This time we're going to do a 3x3 stationery gift set. I just think it would be really nice to do something nice for some other people. So what you're going to need for this is a very important ingredient that's usually in a lot of paper packs. You're going to need an either 3x3 square or 2x2 square cut apart page. So if you look in the Too Much Pun, there is a 2x2 square cut apart page, which was cute, but I decided I wanted to use this llama love page because those little llamas are so cute. And you can see on the front that there's some little squares, so I know that there's a cut apart page in here. And these are 3x3, so we'll actually have to cut them down a bit when we cut them apart. But they're actually a really good size for the cards that I want to do, and there's some pretty foiling on there and some nice sentiments and some cute llamas. So I thought that that would be a good gift set to make. So like I said, you're going to need those cut aparts. They're a really big important part for the cards that you don't have to do too much work for the little present that goes inside, and it's actually a really good use of these pages. A lot of people don't know what to do with them when they get them in the kits. So just make a bunch of 3x3 cards and it's really easy. The good thing about this paper pad is that there's some really nice pattern paper in there. So I'm going to need some pattern paper for the holder. So I got my cut aparts and I have some pattern paper that coordinates with it, which is cute. You're also going to need some plain cardstock for the holder and some cardstock for the cards. So I decided to go with some craft paper for my cards. So the first thing you're going to do, and I'm just going to speed through this, you're going to cut apart your cut aparts. So like I said, these are 3x3. I cut them, I took about 1/8 of an inch off each side, so that they're a little smaller so that they would mat nicely on the card. It's pretty soothing to just cut apart these little cards. You get 12 on a page, and I only make 5 cards for the kit, so this is enough to make cards for 2 kits. I think I'm going to put 6 in there. And then you can get 2 kits from just the one cut apart page. And most pads come with 2 cut apart pages, so there's lots to do with them. Now that I've got that, I'm going to cut down my cardstock for my card bases. For 3x3 cards, you're going to cut it 6x3 inches. And so I'm just cutting it off here, and you get about 3 cards per sheet of cardstock, which is pretty good. I like to keep my scraps for little things after, so don't throw those away because they're big enough for little things. Super easy if you have a paper trimmer. If you're using scissors or a craft knife, it's going to take a little longer to measure and cut. So here's the materials that you're going to need for the bulk of the project. I have measurements over at the blog. I'll just go through them. You need a 3 1/4 by 4 inch piece of fancy paper, 3 1/4 by 1.5 each piece. These are to decorate the holder. Of coordinating plain cardstock, you're going to need 7.5 by 6.5 piece of paper, and that's going to make the whole box, the little holder. And then I have 5 or 6, I can't remember how many cards I put in. I think just 5 card bases, 3x3 card bases, and these are 6 inches by 3 inches. And then I'm just gonna put on some music while I run through and score and make these really cute little 3x3 cards. So I have here a paper cut to 6.5 by 7.5. You'll see some captions across the screen because I wasn't really clear about, I couldn't remember. So I had to look up the measurements. So you're just going to score along with the measurements that come across the top of the screen. Now I do this out of order because you need the long score on the 6.5 side at 1.5 and 4.5 so that you can do your markers so that you know where to cut. So I do the long side, 7.5 inch, I do 2 score lines, and then I turn it and do the short side for the 2 score lines, and then I turn it and do the long side again. Just because it's a little easier once you have those long score lines. So I just flip the paper over so that you only need to remember 5 inches because that's just a guide for where we're going to cut. So it doesn't really need to be folded. It's just easier to measure it while you have it on the scoreboard. So when you're done, you can have a piece that looks like this. First thing, burnish all the score lines that go all the way across the page. So I'm going to do this long one here, even though we're going to cut part of that away. And then I'm going to do the bottom, and you can sort of see how that box is going to take shape now. Now we need to cut parts away. So I'm going to use my big honkin' scissors here, and I'm going to cut that score line away from this top part so that it has a little bit of a cleaner look. So if you look, I actually cut the score line completely away. You don't need that, and I just think it looks neater. So just cut it all away. And then you could use this little piece for something else later. And I'm going to do that to the other side as well, so that I have a nice clean edge there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up the score lines at the bottom on the long side, and these are going to be my flaps to make my little box. I also like to notch the little middle corners because we're going to hide that in between the front and the back so that you can't see it. And this just helps cut down on some of the bulk when you are folding and gluing. I should have used smaller scissors for this. You could hack as much as you want. Nobody's going to see that. I actually made the middle flaps a little shorter as well because see, when we fold it up, it's going to go right in the middle there. And it's going to be covered up so that you don't have to see that flap. For the top corners, just because I thought it looked a little neater, I'm going to round it. You don't have to. I think it looks good either way, but I had a corner rounder, so why not? And I think it looks cute. Because this is the mounting paper, I just wanted it to match, so I just used the 1/4 inch side of the corner rounder just so that it's cute and you got a little bit of a border there. I think that's really sweet. I'm going to go ahead and glue this before I put the box together, just because I want to put a little handle in there. So it'll be easier to do that when I have both of those sheets together. Now, if you were going to use a punch, which I thought about using, you might want to do them separately because it'll be a little hard to punch through those 2 levels of cardstock. I used a little die from Lawn Fawn, the slide on over die, just the shortest one to make a little handle. If you have a circle punch, I think that would be good too, because then you can hang it on a doorknob, or a little label punch or anything that you think would make a good handle. I think that would be really cute. To fold and form our box, we're going to glue those flaps so that the middle flap that we cut the chunk out is sandwiched in between the 2 square flaps. I think it makes it look neater, and it also stops it from when you're sliding things in and out of the box. It doesn't get caught on that middle flap that we cut shorter. So I made a mistake. I wanted to make sure that I had my little front designer paper piece so that we can press it flat. It's easier to decorate the box before you put it together. Pro tip. So that's what I did. And now I'm just going to put some on there so that I can put the back flap on the inside and then glue the middle flap. And then I'm going to glue the front flap to both of them, making sure that I square up the box in that back corner. And that'll keep it all nice and square. Just a little press with the bone folder so that it sticks. Always make sure that the one side you're working on is stuck down really well before you work on the other side. I've put enough boxes together that have fallen apart because I didn't wait, because I have no patience. So have some patience. And then I'm going to make a mistake quickly and then fix it before it dries. Because it's handmade and it's not perfect and nobody's going to be able to tell anyways. So I'm going to glue those flaps up, and then we're going to have our box and we'll be able to put our cards in it. I think that this is a cute little gift and really fast actually. This took me no more than a half hour, and that's the humming and hawing that I did even choosing the paper to decide what I wanted to do. And it looks really cute. You'll see here that I thought it looked kind of plain, so I decided to wrap a ribbon around mine, but you don't have to. You can stick any embellishments that you have, or stickers, or little flowers, or what have you, or just leave it as it is, because I think it's really sweet, and I think that that is a nice gift. Like I said, I'm going to put mine in the trunk of a car for the people who bring me food, so that they have little notes that they can pass on, because I'm sure all the people working at those grocery stores can use a pick-me-up. And I think the best gift I can give them is to stay home. So that's the best gift we all can. So once I fix this ribbon, which is a little loose, but I fix it later, I'm going to put a little glue under there and just make sure there's no ribbon shenanigans, and then stick my cards in and call it a day. I think it's really cute. And I hope that you are inspired to make a little happy for somebody else. And this will hold way more than the 5 cards and envelopes that I put in there, so I might fill it up a little more, but there you go. Cards and holder. I think that would be really sweet. Of course, the measurements and more information is available over at my blog, which will be in the description. And I hope that you have fun making this and giving this. Stay home, stay healthy, and stay safe, and I'll see you again. Thanks.